In this video, I'm going to give you another engineer task, and that is explosive charge placement for destroying landmines in place. You would do this if the mine is an anti-personnel mine, and those can be pretty tricky. You kind of want to destroy them where they're at, unless for safety reasons you can't because of civilian population, or if you set off the mine where it's at, it causes a chain reaction, making a situation worse because the mine could be located by storage tanks of poisonous or explosive chemicals or petroleum products. Another reason you would destroy mines in place is the standard operating procedure, or the doctrine says that you need to for safety reasons, like because the mine could be booby-trapped or have anti-handling devices. I'm going to show you the charge placement for anti-tank mines and also a couple examples for anti-personnel mines. I will not be showing you how to prime the charges, how to lay out your line mains or ring mains, or how to initiate the explosives. That I'm not allowed to show you, at least at this time, because of federal laws. But I can show you charge placement. I'm coming at this from primarily a humanitarian demining aspect for this. You do place your charges a little bit differently if you're doing breaching operations, trying to get through a minefield or through an obstacle to continue your mission to get out of fields of fire. Now, what you typically use will be a 1 pound block of explosives if it is TNT. If you're using C4 blocks, it is 1 1/4 sticks. For this, I'm going to be using as my simulated explosive block a piece of 2x2 cut to the length of a 1 pound block of TNT. I do have a hole drilled in one end. As my simulated cap well, it is not threaded, so I would not be able to use a priming adapter in there if I'm going through and using this for other training methods or means. Now, first off here we have the anti-tank mine. For this, you need to place your charge directly over the top of the mine, preferably over the pressure plate. Now remember, the pressure plates on anti-tank mines typically require 200 to 650 pounds of pressure directly downward on the pressure plate to set it off. There are also tilt rod activated mines which require considerably less pressure to activate the tilt rod. But right now we're going to show you for pressure plate activation. Now, if for some reason the explosion does not rupture the casing and detonate the explosive inside, it should exert enough force downward on the pressure plate to activate the fuse setting off the mine. Now the next one will be anti-personnel, pressure plate activated. We're going to be simulating again with the M14. Pressure plate activated. Anti-personnel mines do not require a lot of pressure. From what I've seen in books, for foreign mines it only takes like 3 to 5 pounds of pressure to set off the pressure plate, but it could be as low as a single pound. So you're probably not going to want to take your 1 pound block, put it right on the pressure plate. What you're going to want to do is, if the pressure plate is flush with the ground or a little bit above the surface of the ground, you're probably going to want to build up at least 2 little piles opposite each other, and then put your block over the top of the mine, bridging it, but not so high up that you're going to lose a lot of force. You want it as close to the mine as possible. Now, just with a quick note for toe poppers like this, there's not a lot of explosive in them. There's only going to be really about 8 to 10 ounces of explosives inside a toe popper type mine. So you might be able to get away with a half-pound block of explosives or half a stick of C4 to set off the toe popper. So that way you extend your resources so you can destroy more mines in the minefield. Next mine we're going to be talking about is the bounding fragmentation. The way this one is set up right now, it was set up for tripwire fusing, so there would have been a pin coming out the side of the fuse here and tripwire attached to the pin. The other end of the tripwire would be attached to some type of anchor like a tree, a stake, a vehicle, or possibly a body. It's not unheard of for bodies to be booby-trapped by tying tripwire to the body and then the other end of the tripwire to a landmine. Now if it's a tripwire activated mine and the tripwire is still in place, you could get away with just tying a piece of cordage like 550 cord to the tripwire and then getting your standoff distance and then yanking on the cord to activate the fuse. If it is a tension release type fuse, meaning you break the tripwire and the fuse activates, you might be able to set up like a tripod directly over the top of it with a weight of some type like a big rock, drop that down on top of the tripwire and set off the fuse. But with these types of mines, they are typically going to be inside a steel casing as the fragmentation, so you'll want to use the full 1 pound block. You're going to want to place it over the top of the mine, being extremely careful not to touch any pressure prongs or disturb any pins, or if it has a secondary fuse type initiation system on top of it, you don't want to activate that either, at least not yet. You'll want to activate that stuff when the charge goes off, not while you're placing the charge. That is the basics on charge placement for when you are trying to clear mines from a minefield. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and Militia movement, always remember, essayons.